Today, we're going to be talking about a Stephen King story that was adapted to a movie that was not what the story was about when it came out. So, in 1978, Stephen King put out a collection called Night Shift, short stories. One of them was called The Lawnmower Man. Now, in this story, it's about a guy who was traumatized by a neighborhood boy killing a cat while he was mowing this guy's lawn. He sells his lawnmower. He's completely done and messed up from it. And his lawn that he was very proud of before and was well maintained has grown insanely and is out of control. So he calls a lawn mowing service, and I think they were called Pastoral Greenery or something like that, and outdoor services. So he calls this company to come mow his lawn. Guy shows up. He then strips naked, and the lawnmower autonomously and automatically starts mowing. And on all fours, naked, this dude starts eating the grass. Completely bewildered, the guy's like, "What's going on?" And he says he works for a Greek god named Pan, and this is like a new service, or this is how they perform their service. Obviously freaked out, the guy tries to call the cops and then is killed by a lawnmower that comes into the house and it gobbles the guy up, cuts him up, and everything. Crazy short story. So immediately people must start thinking, man, this would make a great movie. This would be wild. Well, kinda. So what happened was they licensed the idea, the adaptation, the story from Stephen King. What Stephen King did not know was the studio, in this case, New Line Cinema, had a script for another film that they were going to develop called Cybergod, which had nothing to do with what the Lawnmower Man story was. They used the name Lawnmower Man, but it is not the short story that Stephen King had wrote for the Night Shift collection in 1978. No, this one, much different. And we're in the early 90s. I'm guessing the script was written, movie comes out in 1992. I'm going to guess the script was written probably 90, 91, I would assume. Virtual reality is big in the early 90s. We got many cyberistic killer movies, more that I'll talk about on the channel for the next few weeks, because this is actually a fun little subgenre of horror, the cyber killer subgenre, whatever you want to call it, cyber horror. So the film Lawnmower Man, who with the working title was Cybergod, they licensed the name and what Stephen King thought, the story, to make a Lawnmower Man film. What he didn't know was they were using the script for this completely unrelated movie called Cybergod and slapping the Lawnmower Man title over it. Stephen King at the time, a lot of his films were being adapted, and to a successful rate. Obviously, Carrie was adapted in 76, I think that was. We get The Shining with Kubrick in the early 80s. We get Pet Sematary in 89, which was a success. So Stephen King, master of horror, the greatest literary mind that we have ever seen in American culture, in my eyes and in many people's eyes. So if you slap his name on a film and it's being adapted from his work, most people are going to think, damn, this is going to be pretty good. Stephen King's a great author, really twisted. People want to go see his work adapted to the screen. So a plethora of Stephen King films have been made up until this point. The Lawnmower Man, with the script Cybergod, is not the Lawnmower Man that Stephen King wrote in his short story collection Night Shift. So in the movie, Pierce Brosnan plays this like scientist, and he has these experimental drugs that he couples with virtual reality training that he ends up using on this dude named Job. So this cat named Job is a simpleton. He's mentally compromised. He's not playing with a full deck, whatever you wanna call it. He is mentally incapacitated to a large degree. but he is a lawnmower man. He works for a landscaping works landscaping. He lives in like a little shed. You can tell he kind of really doesn't have anybody that's really super close to him. His best friend's a child. So you get the kind of picture of who this guy is. Played brilliantly by Jeff Fahey. Jeff Fahey is amazing in this film. And the film itself is not bad. And Stephen King didn't think so either. We'll get there. Hold on. Pierce Brosnan plays this scientist. Now, this scientist meets this lawnmower man, Job, who is just a simpleton. He's mentally incapacitated to a large degree. He is not all there. He is mentally handicapped. And he is a lawnmower man. His best friend's a child. You know, he's obsessed with comics. He's clearly not operating at a level that he should be as an adult. So this scientist, played by Pierce Brosnan, actually has these experimental drugs, and he couples with virtual reality training, and he uses it on Job. And little does he know, it actually works, and it works significantly well, that Job not only becomes smarter and his brain expands as far as what it can do, it goes to a large degree where he turns into a godlike figure, where he knows everything. You see the change subtly, where he's not as much of a pushover. He can then, it expands to him hearing people's thoughts, knowing complex things. So it goes, it starts very gradual, and then it expands very fast, as far as him going from a simpleton to the smartest being that's ever existed. And hence the working title, which was Cyber God, of this script. So anyway, they make, and you can imagine what happens from there. I won't give it away. I mean, you've had 30 plus years to see this film. I actually think it's great. Stephen King did as well. Now, Stephen King sees the film, comes out, sees the film, and he said something to the effect of, yeah, the film's great, but it had nothing to do with the lawnmower man. I can't wait to sue New Line. And that's exactly what he did. They had to take his name off the poster, because obviously on the poster, it's a selling point for a lot of horror fans, Stephen King fans, and fans of film in general. You see a new Stephen King idea or story that was adapted to the screen, it was going to draw people in, especially back in the day. It still does. Long Walk just came out. It's still a very profitable business to be making a film based off of Stephen King work. So Stephen King actually liked the film, but he said, I'm going to sue him because this had nothing to do with the lawnmower man, and you're falsely using my name to promote a movie and an idea of a story that's not mine. He sues him. They have to take his name off the poster. It was Stephen King's Lawnmower Man. They take the poster, and they hire private investigators after the movie comes out, because then New Line and the distribution company put Stephen King's name on the VHS, and you can still find the VHS on eBay. You can still find copies of the VHS that say Stephen King's Lawnmower Man, even on the VHS. You can still find the posters. I think the posters are a little bit more pricey because they pulled them and they had to be destroyed, most of them. I'm sure there's still plenty in rotation right now. And I actually love the cover art for this. The cover art for this, as you can see, I'm wearing my Lawnmower Man t-shirt. Is just Job mowing the lawn in this ominous purple sky, and you see him in the virtual reality cyberball right there in the eyeball. I've always loved this movie. Scream Factory put this gimmick out a few years ago, maybe 10 years ago or so. They had the slipcover. I waited. I didn't buy this movie right away when it came out. I should have, but I kind of just sat on it. They have cool alternative artwork for this that they commissioned, and it's not bad. I just love that OG artwork, mainly due to remembering it in the video store as a child. I remember it so vividly, seeing this artwork on a poster in the video store when this movie was being rented in video stores in the early 90s. It just burned in my brain, and at the time I think I remember just being bored by the movie as a child. But I remember watching it and just being like, this isn't I was expecting this guy to be I was expecting more of a horror movie. And it's more of it's horror, don't get me wrong, but it's more of a thriller, a cyber thriller. But there is murder in it, obviously. It's just not like a blood and guts horror movie, which is kind of what I was expecting as a child. So watching it, I think in full, probably like 10, 12 years old, then I was just like, oh, it's actually a good movie. It's just not what I wanted when it first came out and I was a little kid and I was looking for something comparable, because at the time when I thought Stephen King, I thought Silver Bullet, Pet Sematary, monster movies. That's what I was thinking I was getting, and not exactly that. But the film is great. And I do think that it holds like a fun place in like horror / whatever you want to call it. It's sci-fi. We've talked about like the sci-fi share with horror films and things like that, and this is a perfect example of that. Jeff Fahey is awesome in it. Jeffrey Lewis is in this as well. As I said, Pierce Brosnan plays the Doctor. This is a fun film. This is loaded with special features too. This has got both a theatrical and director's cut for it. Like I said, I didn't get it when I got the slipcover, but I love that OG art, so I just flipped it around, and this is good enough for me. I think an overseas company made a sequel to this called Job's War. It had Matt Frewer from National Lampoon Senior Trip. He was also the neighbor dad in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. He was in the Dawn of the Dead remake. He played Job in Lawnmower Man 2, Job's War, the subtitle. But yeah, that one's not good at all. But this one is actually fun, and the Stephen King lore behind it is super fun as well. It's a good movie. You should check it out if you have not seen it. Yeah, like the cyber horror subgenre is super fun. There's a couple other movies that we're definitely going to be talking about soon, but this one I always had a soft spot in my heart for, and it was always fun watching after I started to get it, after I accepted that it wasn't. And I think that's that's perfect marketing. This movie came out in 92. It was probably in video stores in 93, 94, 95. I'm 6, 7 years old. I see Stephen King and I want something. I want like a zombie or something, or a werewolf or something. Obviously, I know. I just thought the Lawnmower Man was going to kill people with a lawnmower. That's what I thought as a kid. But obviously, I saw that even as a young child, I correlated the name Stephen King to a horror movie, and this wasn't exactly a horror movie. So Stephen King was right. He was so right in going after them, because it's mismarketing, it's misrepresentation, it's mismarketing, it's misrepresentation of what the Lawnmower Man, the story that they bought, was. So more power to Stephen King. He was in all of his rights to do what he did. You can still find the VHS that says Stephen King's The Lawnmower Man, though. So if you want to hunt out a little bit of fun memorabilia to own, you can get the Stephen King's Lawnmower Man on VHS. They still have it. And a poster, I'm sure you can find a poster somewhere. Like I said, you might pay a pretty penny for that, but VHS you can get for $5-10. So yeah, check it out if you haven't seen Lawnmower Man. If you do like the Lawnmower Man, or if you don't, let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like or have seen the Lawnmower Man. I'd love to know everybody else's thoughts on it. This is a nostalgic movie for me, even more so just for the poster art. And I love this artwork. It's just so fun, and I love having it as a T-shirt there. So yeah. What are your favorite Stephen King adaptations? We just talked about Stand By Me, talked to Lawnmower Man now. Big Stephen King fan. I've visited Maine a few times. I've taken the Stephen King tour that they have there. Shout out to Jamie and his wife. They do a terrific job out there. So if you're ever in Maine, if you're ever in Bangor, check that out, because it's well worth the money. But yeah, you can follow us at Instagram at Heart Guide Media. If you've watched it thus far, greatly appreciated. Hit the subscribe, hit the thumbs up, hit the notifications button. Let me know that you're listening. Greatly appreciated. The Lawnmower Man, check it out. Super fun.